I'm Lou, a trucker with 17 years hauling freight from Maine to Miami, and everywhere in between. The road's full of stories, ghostly hitchhikers, cursed highways, CB chatter from nowhere. Most of it's just talk to pass the miles, but I've always been a skeptic. Give me coffee, a clear road, and a working rig, and I'm fine. That is, until January last year, when I met something on a lonely stretch of US Route 1 in Massachusetts, something that saved my life and left me questioning everything. They call it Phantom 309, and I'll never drive that road the same again. It was just past midnight, January 29th, the anniversary of a story every trucker knows. I was hauling a load of frozen seafood from Portland to Boston, running late after a snowstorm slowed me down. Route 1 near Saugus was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes your skin itch. The road dipped into a blind curve, a spot notorious for accidents, and the snow was falling again, light but steady, dusting the asphalt. My headlights cut through the dark, catching the glint of ice on the bridge ahead. I was tired, my eyes heavy, but I kept my speed steady, the rig's engine humming low. My CB was off, too much static in the storm, but I swear I heard a faint honk, deep and long, like a rig's air horn echoing from miles away. Then in my side mirror, I saw it, a set of bumper lights, bright and steady, tailing me close. Too close. I hadn't seen another truck for hours. My heart kicked up, but I told myself it was just another driver, maybe running the same route. Where did that rig come from, and why was it riding my tail? The lights stayed with me, pacing my rig through the curve. I tapped the brakes, expecting them to back off, but they didn't waver, just hung there, glowing through the snow. I glanced at the road ahead, and my stomach dropped. A school bus was stopped in the dip, its red lights flashing, a family car idling behind it. Kids inside, probably heading to some late-night event. The road was slick, the curve tight, and my rig, 40 tons of steel and seafood, wasn't stopping in time. I gripped the wheel, my foot hovering over the brake, knowing a hard stop would jackknife me into the bus. That's when the honk came again, louder, closer, like it was right beside me. The bumper lights in my mirror flared, blinding, and I felt a push. Not a crash, but a nudge, like a hand guiding my rig. The wheel turned sharp and smooth, steering me toward the shoulder, away from the bus and the car. I didn't touch it. My hands were frozen, but the rig moved like it had a mind of its own, sliding past the bus and into the gravel, stopping just shy of the bridge abutment. What pushed my rig, and how did it know to save me? I sat there, heart pounding, breath fogging the windshield. The school bus pulled away, its lights fading into the snow, the car following. Safe, I checked the mirrors. Nothing. No bumper lights, no rig, just empty road and swirling flakes. The air in the cab was cold, sharp with the smell of gasoline, though my rig ran on diesel. I climbed out, my boots crunching in the snow, and swept my flashlight across the shoulder. No tire tracks, no skid marks, just my own rig's prints in the gravel. But on the trailer's side, etched into the frost, was a handprint, big, calloused, like a trucker's, pressed deep into the metal. I got back in the cab, my hand shaking, and tried to radio dispatch, but the CB wouldn't work, just static. Then a faint voice, deep and steady. "Keep rolling, Lou." My name. It knew my name. I yanked the plug, but the voice lingered, echoing in the cab like it was part of the air. I drove on, the gasoline smell fading, the cold lifting, but that handprint stayed in my mind, clear as day. Whose handprint was that, and how did it know me? I didn't stop until I hit a truck stop outside Boston, its lot packed with rigs, the diner glowing like a beacon. I stumbled inside, the smell of coffee and bacon grounding me. The waitress, a woman with a name tag reading Barb, poured me a cup and eyed my face. "You look like you've seen the devil," she said, half joking. "You ever hear about anything weird on Route 1? I asked, my voice low. "Near Saugus, by the bridge?" Her smile faded. She leaned in, her voice barely a whisper. "Phantom 309. My stomach twisted. She slid a napkin across the counter, a single word scrawled in pen. "Don't." She walked away, her eyes avoiding mine, like she was afraid to say more. How did Barb know that name, and what wasn't she telling me? I couldn't shake it. A week later, I was at a bar in Lowell, swapping stories with other drivers. I mentioned the bumper lights, the nudge, the handprint. Most laughed, called it a ghost story. But an old-timer, his face scarred from years on the road, didn't. "You met Big Joe," he said, his voice rough. "Phantom 309. "What do you know about him?" I asked, my throat dry. He leaned in, eyes glinting. "Back in '63, a driver named Pete Trudell was hauling gasoline on Route 1. Came up on a blind dip, same spot you were at, with a school bus and a car stopped in the road. Couldn't brake in time, so he steered into the bridge abutment. Truck went up in flames, 4,600 gallons of gas. Pete didn't make it, but the kids and the family did. Since then, drivers see him. Bumper lights in the dark, a rig that honks and vanishes. They say he's still out there, saving folks who can't save themselves." "What's he want?" I said, my voice shaking. The old-timer didn't answer, just pointed to a photo on the wall, a faded news clipping from January 29th, 1963. A burned-out tanker, twisted metal, flames licking the bridge. In the corner, barely visible, was a figure, a tall man in a trucker's jacket, standing untouched in the smoke, his eyes glowing like headlights. And on the ground beside him, a black leather glove crusted with frost, though the fire was still burning. Was that Pete? And why did he save me? I don't drive Route 1 anymore. I stick to brighter roads, busier highways, where the shadows don't move. But Big Joe follows me. At night, when I'm parked, I smell it. Gasoline, sharp and acrid, creeping into the cab. I hear a faint honk, deep and long, like a rig calling from miles away. Last week, I found something under my bunk, a black leather glove, stiff with frost, though it was 60 degrees outside. I burned it in a rest stop fire pit, watched it curl and blacken, but the smell didn't go away. Last night, my CB crackled, though I hadn't touched it in months. A voice, deep and steady, filled the cab. "Keep rolling, Lou." I checked the mirrors, and there they were, bumper lights, glowing through the dark, pacing my rig. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I drove until dawn, the lights fading, but never gone. I don't know what Phantom 309 is, a ghost, a guardian, or something else entirely. But I know it's out there, on Route 1, watching, waiting. And I know, if I ever hit that blind dip again, Big Joe will be there, guiding me through the dark. Will I ever escape the shadow of Phantom 309? If this story gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You never know what's coming next. I'm Mick, a trucker with 20 years hauling freight across Australia's outback, from the Nullarbor to the Newell. The road's a strange place. Yowies in the bush, min-min lights chasing your rig, stories swapped over greasy eggs at 2 a.m. truck stops. I've heard them all, laughed most off. But there's one tale that's no joke, one that found me on a lonely stretch of the Newell Highway through the Pilliga Scrub. They call her the Princess of Pilliga, and she's been riding with me ever since. It was late, around 1 a.m., on a run from Brisbane to Dubbo, hauling a load of grain through New South Wales. The Newell Highway cuts through the Pilliga Scrub, a dense 5,000 square kilometer tangle of woodland between Narrabri and Coonabarabran. The Scrub's got a reputation. Things go missing in there. Sheep, cars, people. Locals say it's cursed, that the spirits don't like visitors. I didn't buy it. I'm a practical bloke. Keep the wheels turning, make the drop, get paid. The night was black, no moon, just my headlights slicing through the scrub. The air was heavy, smelling of eucalyptus and something sour like rotting fruit. My CB was quiet, the radio spitting static. I passed a familiar landmark, a gnarled gum tree, its branches twisted like bones, lit up by my high beams. Then I saw her, a figure on the shoulder, pushing a shopping trolley piled with bags, her white hair glowing in the dark. She was small, hunched, in tattered clothes. An old woman, alone, out here. The Pilliga princess, I thought, half laughing. I'd heard the stories. A homeless Aboriginal woman, struck and killed by a truck in '93, still wandering the highway. Why was she out here, and why did she look so real? I slowed down, not sure if I'd stop. Truckers talk about her. Claire Wibson, they say her name was. A recluse who'd hitch rides or walk the Newell at night. The stories say she'd demand to be driven into the scrub, her eyes wild, her trolley rattling. I checked my side mirror, and she was gone. Just the tree, the road, the dark. My gut twisted, but I kept driving, telling myself it was a trick of the light. 5 miles later, there she was again. Same trolley, same white hair, standing by that same gnarled tree. My heart kicked up. I hadn't turned, hadn't looped. The Newell's a straight shot through the scrub. I glanced at the cab camera, its red light blinking, recording everything. I pulled over, against my better judgment, and opened the passenger door. "You need a lift?" I called. No answer. The air was still, no crickets, no wind, just that sour smell, stronger now, like something dead. I waited, my flashlight sweeping the shoulder. Nothing. No woman, no trolley. How did she get ahead of me, and where did she go? I climbed back in, locked the door, and checked the camera feed on my dash. The footage showed me pulling over, the door opening, but no one was there. Just empty road, the tree's shadow stretching long. I hit the gas, my hands sweaty on the wheel. Minutes later, the passenger door clicked open on its own, the latch popping like someone yanked it. The cab filled with that rotten stench, so thick I gagged. I slammed the door shut, my heart pounding, and checked the camera again. The feed showed the door opening, then closing, but the seat was empty. No shadow, no shape. The CB crackled, though I hadn't touched it. A voice, faint and raspy, whispered, "Mick, take me to the bush." My name. She knew my name. I ripped the plug out, but the voice kept going, circling the cab. To the bush. I floored it, the rig roaring, the scrub blurring past. The camera's red light blinked, like it was watching me. Why did she know my name, and what did she want in the bush? I didn't stop until I hit a truck stop in Coonabarra Brown, its lot packed with rigs, the diner's neon sign buzzing open. I stumbled inside, the smell of coffee and bacon cutting through the stink still clinging to my clothes. The waitress, a woman with a name tag reading Cheryl, poured me a cup and eyed my face. "You look like you've seen a yowie," she said, half smiling. "You ever hear about the Princess of Pilliga?" I asked, my voice low. Her smile dropped. She leaned in, her voice barely a whisper. "You saw her, didn't you? On the Newell." I nodded, and she slid a napkin across the counter, a single word scrawled in pen. "Don't." She turned away, busying herself with dishes, like she was scared to say more. What did Cheryl know, and why was she afraid to tell me? I sent the cab camera footage to my boss the next day, expecting a laugh or a lecture about staying focused. He called me, his voice quiet. "Looks like you met the Princess of Pilliga," he said, no humor in it. He told me other drivers had sent similar clips, pulling over at that same gnarled tree, the door opening, nothing climbing in, then the door popping open again miles later. Always at night, always between Narrabri and Coonabarabran, always with that rotten smell. He didn't ask for details, just told me to keep driving and not stop in the scrub. A week later, I was at a pub in Dubbo, swapping stories with other truckers. I mentioned the princess, the trolley, the voice. Most nodded, a few went quiet. An old-timer, his face weathered like the outback itself, spoke up. "You're not the first, mate," he said. "Claire Wibson, the Pilliga princess, hit by a truck in '93. Drivers said she ran at him, arms out, white hair flailing, like she wanted to be hit. Since then, she's been hitching rides, asking to be taken to the bush. Some say she's looking for her camp. Others say she's tied to something darker out there." "What's she want?" I asked, my throat dry. He didn't answer, just pointed to a photo on the wall. A faded shot of the Newell Highway, dated 1994. In the corner, barely visible, was a figure. Small, hunched, pushing a trolley, her white hair glowing in the dark. And on the ground beside her, a black leather glove, crusted with frost, though the photo was taken in summer. Was Claire still looking for her camp, or was something else calling her? I don't stop on the Newell anymore, not between Narrabri and Coonabarra Brown. I drive straight through, no matter how tired I am, no matter how heavy my eyes get. But she's still there. At night, when I'm parked, I smell it. That rotten, sour stench, creeping into the cab. I hear the door latch click, soft but deliberate, like someone's trying to get in. Last week I found something under my seat. A black leather glove, stiff with frost, though it was 35 degrees outside. I burned it in a fire pit, watched it curl and blacken, but the smell didn't go away. Last night my CB crackled, though I hadn't plugged it in. Her voice, raspy and close, filled the cab. "Mick, to the bush." I checked the camera feed, my heart pounding, and there it was, the passenger seat, empty, but the belt buckled like someone was sitting there. In the mirror I saw it, a shadow, small and hunched, in the corner of the sleeper, gone when I turned. I don't know what the Princess of Pilliga is, a ghost, a spirit, or something the scrub won't let go. I don't know why she chose me, or what's waiting in the bush she wants to reach, but I know she's out there, on the Newell, pushing her trolley, watching. And I know if I ever stop again, she'll climb in, and this time she might not let me go. Will I ever escape the Princess of Pilliga? If this story gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You never know what's coming next.